Hello. I recently bought this, the Qcon Pro G2. I looked at quite a few different controllers, and basically this one was the one that just kind of checked all the boxes for me. I really liked the way it looked and just the overall visual feel of it. After getting it, I actually do really like it. Everything seems smooth. The only problem that I have found is, and it's not even a problem, it's just I can't find much online using my DAW, which is Reaper. And it works with Reaper, and I can get it to work. They even give you all these fancy little templates for each different DAW, like this one is Reaper, and then they have Pro Tools and Studio One, Logic, all those. And honestly, I don't know if I really need it or not. It doesn't seem to change much as far as what each button is labeled at. I could find stuff online that works with the Icon M. I can't remember what it's called, but the M series, and then they have a Pro X. I found some information on that, but the G2, the Pro G2, I could not find much on that. I ended up going to the Reaper forums and started getting some more information. But for those that are running Reaper with the Qcon Pro G2, I'm going to give you some little things that I have found. I'm not an expert by any means, and I haven't even had this but more than a couple weeks, so I'm still learning, and I'm sure I'll learn more. But maybe this will help you get started and give you some ideas. Okay. When you hook this up through your DAW, you have to use this machine uses the Mackie Control Universal. I think that's what it's called. I'll have to go look real quick, but yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what it is. I'll show this all, since I'm only running one camera here. I'll try and put other stuff, or Mackie Control Protocol. Let's see, there should be others too. Yep, Mackie Control Universal is actually what I used first, the MCU. And then after doing some research, I found there was another through my the forums, on the Reaper forums. I found Mackie Control Protocol Klinke edition, and I think that's Klinke, or I'm pretty sure it's Klinke. If I'm pronouncing it wrong, I apologize, especially since I'm gonna pronounce it that way for the rest of this video. But I just used the Mackie Control Universal first, and that gave me pretty much everything I needed. All of my record, solo, mute, and set, track set, that all worked. Now the only thing I don't like about, I'm in the Klinke version right now. The only thing I don't like about the Klinke version is when you select a track, it stays selected. You can't unselect it. Now on the MCU, I could unselect. On this one, I have to come up here to shift, hold it, hit select, hold it, and then let go both at the same time, and then it deselects it. But otherwise, the only way to deselect is to select another track, and I don't like to have any of my tracks selected. I want to be able to control that, per se, so you have to hold those. I figured that out. So, but like I said, in the MCU version, that doesn't do that. It just, you hit it and it deselects it. Now also in the Klinke version, all of these, here's all of my plugins. I can actually run them and work with them on this screen right here. At this point, I don't see any benefit to that, to me, because you have to control everything off of this little LCD screen. I feel much better just pulling it up, grabbing my mouse and pulling it up, the plug-in up on the screen, and doing my editing and working on it there. It's just much easier for me. So even though I have control of these, I don't really use them. Now in the MCU, these were, I couldn't use any of these. They didn't seem to do anything. But in both of them, the transport works, the play, stop, record, all that. Excuse me. The only thing down here is there's a marker button right here. You can put markers in your project. And in the MCU, I can hit this marker button and it'll put a mark in my project. And then up here, you've got, there's four, oops, what did I do? Nothing. There's 8 buttons here. And this is marker 1, marker 2, 3, 4, and 5, and so on. And you can, once you set a marker, you know, if you set 5 markers and you want to go back to one of the sections, all you have to do is, like the 3rd marker you set, you just hit this 3rd marker button and it'll take you to that part of the project. In the MCU, this marker button works. You can click that and then go back to your markers. In the Klinke edition, or Klinke version, this marker button does not work. The recalls do, but to set the marker, this does not work. So I've just been, as of right now, I've just been using M on my keyboard. It's not that big a deal. You just hit M and boom, you're in. And then you can still recall them using these buttons. Now both the Klinke and the MCU, there's a layer 2 here. Now these are user-defined buttons. You can go in, I think it's Shift F. We're gonna find out. Nope. Oh, yep, Shift. No, that's okay. I'm learning while I'm doing this video, so please excuse me if I'm okay, I'm gonna pause for a second. Okay, I found it. Jiminy goodness. It's question mark. You just hit Shift question, or well, yeah, the question mark key, and your actions pop up. And then you're able to user define these 8 buttons once you're in layer 2. There's layer 1 is your markers. Layer 2, like for instance, I've got this one set for to cut. Like if I select a portion of one of my tracks or projects or something and I want to delete it or remove it from the project, I can just click this button and it cuts it. This one is actually my project. It brings up my open project screen, which, I mean, you can do it with the mouse just as easy, but this is a little faster and I like it. And I usually leave my mouse sitting about in the middle of the screen where this pops up anyway. So, but I haven't really set anything else to these other keys yet. As I get to using it more and figuring out what I use the most, I'm going to preset these to fit that. Other than that, I mean, between the Klinke and the MCU, I think I like the MCU a little better because I have control of my selects and I have my marker. But in the Klinke, I do have, it shows levels here for my faders. It actually shows where it's running to and the amounts, which really isn't that big a deal because I can look right up at my DAW and see that anyway. So it's, and usually I'm looking at the DAW when I'm running these for the most part anyway. But that, I do kind of like having those. And then of course all these work. Your moves 8 banks, 8 channels. So, and I do at some point plan to add the extender to this, another 8 tracks. And but for now I can bank through each 8, or I can actually go 1 track at a time. And that's pretty nice too. When I'm doing drums, sometimes I'll have 9 or 10 tracks on the drums, so instead of banking all 8, I can work on my first ones, or usually the first track is kind of a main, almost like a master track, so then I can kick over and anyway, yeah, you get the idea. But that's honestly, I don't know if any of this will actually help, but it does work, and there are things that you can do between the things. Like I said, I don't even know if I even need this template, because it's all the stuff that I use, it's already marked the same anyway. But yeah, that's the general idea, and I'll go ahead and do some screen shots of the, or video of the screen showing you where I load and do all this stuff. Okay, so basically, to get to your thing, to load the Qcon into your Reaper, you hit Options, go down to Preferences, and then you scroll down here to Control OS C Web. Click on that, and then that gives me, I got the Mackie Control Protocol Klinke in there. Well, you can hit Add, and here's the Mackie Control Universal. And that's what I used first. And then when I found the Klinke, I downloaded it and used it. Now here's the Klinke for the main board, and then they give you the Protocol B. I think this is for extenders, so that you can add the extensions on. But that's how you load that up. And then once you load it up, it'll give you this screen, which has your MIDI input, MIDI output, and then you go and click on your control surface. Like for instance, here's my Focusrite USB, my interface, but you click on the Pro 2 here, and then that loads it in for your input, and you also click it for your output. And then I don't click any of this stuff here. There was something I played around with. Oh, emulate blinking LEDs. It drove me nuts. And then here's the icon Qcon Pro X support. If you have the Pro X, you can just click this and it goes. It helps. And I've heard people clicking that even for the Qcon, the Pro G2, but I guess it doesn't really. It's made more specific to the Pro X. So that's, and then you just hit OK, and your board should be hooked to your DAW. And then the other thing, what else did I mention? I'm gonna sneeze. Oh, maybe not. Okay. And then I said you hit the question mark, and then that gives you this screen here, which is your user defines. So for instance, if I were to click on my one, let's say I wanted to do an edit, cut. Type in cut and see I have edit, cut items, hacks, envelope ports, depending on focus, ignoring time, blah, blah, blah. And see right there, I've got MIDI channel 16. That's because that's what I used to program that button. Now, if I wanted to add item cut, selected area, track, okay, cut tracks. There's nothing, it doesn't have any shortcuts for that. So you go add, and then this screen will pop up, and right there it has a shortcut, type key or move controller. Well, then all I have to do is press the second button, and as you can see, it automatically put that second button for the shortcut. And then I can just hit OK. And then anytime I want to cut a track, get rid of one of a track or something, I can select it and then just hit that second button that I had programmed to do that. I currently do not want to do that, but that's pretty much how you do it. You just shift, question mark, and then whatever action you want to do, you know, just there. Yeah, anyway, you if you know your DAW and you know how to do this, you can figure it out relatively quickly. Yeah, see, here's redo and undo. Now the undo button on the control surface works, but it would be nice to have a redo button actually. So click that one, hit add, and then type key or move controller. Well, in my case, I'm going to push the button, and then hit OK. Now my second button is set to redo. And you can still use, as it shows here, Control Shift Z works too, but you know, that's 3 buttons to push. And then, like I said, for my open projects, I've got that 1 button programmed to do that. All I have to do is press that button, and there's my project folder. So I can open up my projects and stuff, and you know, all in all, it actually is pretty integrated and it does work. It's just depending on which one you want. I might go back to the MCU just because I liked not having the select, or being able to use the select and the marker button. I don't really foresee me needing to have all that info on the LED screen on the control surface when I can just look up at the monitor here and see everything. So I guess hopefully that helps. If you have any other tips or suggestions, or tell me I'm full of crap, please do so. Thank you. See ya!